Back in the day, my electric guitar playing friend Billy caught me in the hall of the high school one afternoon, and he was very excited. And he said, "Hey Steve, I had this dream last night, and I've got this idea for a foot switch." For a foot switch. Now, we both had a lot of foot switches, but he said, "This is new. This is going to be one where you step on it, and it only happens for a second. When you take your foot off, then the effect stops. So maybe you could put a delay on just one note in your lead, and then it would come off. Maybe it would be like a," and he tried to think of what the word was, and then he goes, "like a momentary foot switch. That's what we'll call it." Well, I, of course, thought this was a great idea. I had lots of respect for Billy. He always inspired me with how he thought about things and how he played. I always looked up to him. He was a year older in high school, and we were both part of the same oldies revival band. He was playing his gold Les Paul, and his leads, his guitar improvisations were always really cool and exciting. He enjoyed being a showman too, and he even knew how to play Johnny B. Good with the guitar up behind his head, which was a little over the top, but I think he thought it would impress the girls. And it did. It didn't take too long until that vision that he had for this momentary foot switch became a reality. It would close the circuit when you stepped on it, but then you took your foot off and it didn't maintain the circuit. It didn't click down like those other foot switches would. You take your foot off and it stopped. As I recall, he started using it at our next rehearsal, and now he had another weapon to use in his arsenal. Though I didn't have the language to describe it at the time, when Billy started working on that project, that's when he became a Next Step musician. It wasn't just having the cool idea. It wasn't just soldering connections. Billy imagined himself doing something with his artistry that was out of the box, something that he'd have to stretch himself in order to create. I'm pretty sure there weren't any others on the market at the time. He had to create this from scratch. So it was up to him to research, to design, to craft it, to test it. And he'd only seen this thing in his dream, remember. But he wanted to take his playing up a notch and give audiences an experience that they'd never had before. Billy really inspired me with both his musicianship and his creativity. He went on to become a session guitarist in Hollywood and even has a couple of major movie soundtracks to his credit. In later years, he's been investing his time and his creativity in teaching people how to use audio and video software. You know, the fact that momentary foot switch only existed in Billy's head didn't dissuade him, didn't seem like too big a hill to climb. You know what it did? It motivated him. And that's what your own next steps can do for you. Spend some time thinking those big, broad thoughts. If you could do anything in the world at all with your music, what would you do? Play Carnegie Hall? I don't know. But if you could do anything, what would you do? Then settle down a little bit and start thinking about, well, what would it take to get there? What questions are you going to need to research? What skill do you need to develop? What new thing do you need to create? Personally, I've got a long list of those things, but that's for another video. Hey, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.